Welcome back. This is volume 3 of my 100 Days of Flow in 2024. Welcome back. I'm Roxanne, Super Doodle Girl, and I'm here to share with you a flip through of my third volume of this year's 100 Day project. I have done a video at the end of each of the volumes, but I want to remind you of what these little journals look like before I worked in them. So I have these linked below. This is the little set. They're watercolor journals, and the cover is very matte, so you could draw directly on it. I glued something on top of it. You can see that in the volume 2 video. But I want you to notice the size. When you work with watercolor, it absorbs into the paper and it takes up a lot more space. So you can see just the size of the before and after. I did really enjoy working in these journals. They do handle a ton of water. I've been getting a lot of comments about that. So if you're looking for a small form factor, I do recommend these cute little journals. They come in a set of 3. Let's look at how it turned out. This is my favorite time. I really like the week before the 100-day project when I'm getting everything together. But I also love the flip through at the end when I can really reflect on what I've learned. I'll do that in a separate video after I have a little more space around it. Right now I've recently finished, and so I've got a little hot take and a flip through of volume 3. But then I'll do an additional video to really explain to you some things that I learned and also some of the tools that I really enjoyed using. So this was volume 1, volume 2, and here we are, volume 3. We'll come back to these at the end of the video. So my volume 3 began with day 64. And for day 64, I copied the version of Mindful that I created in the original 2021 project. So this is what's included in the Super Doodle Girl 100-Day Playbook. You get the scan of the artwork, and you can copy it if you want to in your journal. What I wanted to show you is that this smaller journal, if you do it a 2-page spread, it's just a little bit smaller in size than that. So as I went through, I used the playbook as inspiration. So sometimes I would copy it, other times I would kind of look at it, and I took the words and the quote and brought it into my new little one. So for Nourish, I was inspired by my original work, and in here I started working with the QOR Watercolors. These are a little set that I got. These are the golden watercolors, so I was starting to explore what these looked like. So you'll see I was a little awkward. You know, when you learn something new, there's the learning curve, right? And so yes, we had this one. I was inspired by the lettering style. And then about this time, I was also refreshing my Doodle Lettering course. So I was practicing some little Doodle Flowers on the pages as well. This one, I was inspired by the color palette. Let's see, Passion. Kind of did a replica of that. I was also using the pan watercolors, so it looks a little bit different than the original. And then Peace, I had a completely divergent experience. So this year I used more of the Mindful Doodle style, and I wanted it to be more reflective of a calmer energy, more meditative. In Permission, I took the structure, but I changed the colors. So I used it, and this one's a lot warmer. So you can see how I used the playbook to inspire. I was also getting into practicing my little Doodle Flowers. This one was an exploration with watercolor pencils, and I did not like the way they reacted with this paper. So this was not my favorites, and I absolutely love these pencils. I use them in my current daily practice, but I did not like them on the paper in these little journals. Again, coming back to the pan watercolors, playing with my Doodle Flowers, exploring what I can do with 2 colors. So everything on this page came from the blue and the orange, This green is a mixture of those two colors. This brown is a mixture of those two colors. So that was another part of my learning. Very simple. Every now and then I would just come back to working with the cups and just having marks on the page. I enjoyed that. Sometimes you can tell I just kind of felt tired, and I would just get something on the page to complete that practice that day. Some things that I found a little more meditative. So we have a little more meditative mark making, very simple lettering, larger explorations with the orange and the blue. I found a lot of interesting colors mixing the orange and the blue, especially some of these greenish colors that would come out of it. This is probably my favorite spread in volume 3. I really loved the orange and the turquoise. These came out of the pan watercolors. So the orange, and this is a really dark turquoise. So I love how these interacted. And then every now and then I'd come back to a black and white. Very simple. One of the things I do notice is about day 80, I was getting quite exhausted. This was a very interesting work where I was just kind of layering these colors on. You could see when I dropped this on, the liquid watercolor actually stains the paper in different ways. And again, coming back to some liquid watercolors, did some glazing techniques. You see, I also get questions from people who are like, what do you do when it seeps through the binding or you get it around the edges? For this practice, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, yeah, if this were a published work, of course I wouldn't turn it in. That would look sloppy to submit that. But this is just play. You can see once, because I use so much water, it will seep through in certain areas. This one's really funny. Go back and find the short of this one because I originally had service lettered in a different way, colored it in with the glaze pen, and changed my mind on that one. This one was interesting. It kind of, these ended up looking like little city buildings to me for some reason, but I was just playing with it. Exploring slow with the glaze pen and lettering. This one, this color bled through from this page because I had a ton of water on this page. So when I flipped back to see, this did make me a little bit sad here. But we have in the video, when you see the original video, all of this is a really beautiful glaze of the orange and the yellow and the magenta. And then space here, I was just exploring. There was so much liquid on this page. It does seep through the seam. But you can see the pages stay relatively flat. So we had day 92, a little bit of sparkle. I also loved this one a lot. This was the Ecoline black watercolor with the 578, and I flooded it onto the page. And then that contrast with the gold, with the dark turquoise, I love that very much. And this was the last page in the journal. Notice I was at day 94. So my very last page, I had day 94. I had 6 days left and I was out of pages. So the way I problem solved that, I took my last 6 words and I added them onto the covers of the volumes. Now these don't go in order, so my friends that like things to be in order, this will probably, you'll have a little bit of a little challenge with this. But notice how you can lay them flat, and that's what I did. I knew I had these 6 words at the end. Let's see, the last one was day 94, so we had day 95, which was thrive. Day 96 was tranquil. Day 97 is whole, 98 is yes, 99 is zen, and 100 was zest. So I had these 6 words left. So I decided I'm just going to add them to these covers. If you look back, it was either the video, I think, in the first video, flip through, I showed you how I put the covers on the pages. So then I just spread them out and decided how could I adjust these to make them fit. This one, Tranquil, went on very easily, and Zen, because they kind of blended with the artwork that was already on there. Whole and Thrive, I ended up painting the front and back cover with watercolor and then coming on top of it. This orange was a souffle pen, so I wanted a really high contrast. And then my other challenge was to make the front and back covers make sense together. So this one, very easily done. So you see the artwork already matched. On these two, I took the purple and like a green and a blue, but then when I added the orange here, I put orange dots. And then this, there was a little bit of the blue left here, so I added some blue from the souffle pens on that one. And then Zest was my 100, and Yes was 98. So with these, I colored in around the edge of it so that I'd have a place to actually add the word. So you'll see when you see the video, if you look in the shorts for the video for this one, you'll see that I actually colored in and then added Yes. And then Zest had a blast just lettering it on. And then I added the 100 as a border. One of the things I will tell you is I did add, normally I don't seal my watercolor, but I had so much watercolor on the covers of this and I knew I would be holding them a lot. So I did put a sealant on it. I first sprayed it with a spray matte kind of varnish, and then I took a matte varnish with a brush, and very quickly after that first sealant was dried, just added a sealant on top of it. So now they do have a little bit of protection. That, my friends, is a little walkthrough of volume 3 of our 1, 2, 3 volume series. The 3 things I do want to share with you at this time is to trust the process. You don't have to have it all figured out. You do have to start, and it is a process. Second thing is the planning. I rely on the playbook. It told me the word that I would do on each day, so I wasn't trying to think up the content and figure out how to represent it on the page. I knew it was going to be a word and a quote or a definition. So super simple. Make sure you have that planned before you start. And the last thing, this continues to be reinforced for me, is that the way to get good at something is by doing the thing, not thinking about doing the thing. And so that wraps up volume 3 of 100 Days of Flow. So if you have a question or a comment, drop it below the video. I have all of my supplies and everything are also linked below the video.